Okay. Hello, everyone, and happy Wednesday?
Wednesday.
It's Wednesday. I literally really don't know sometimes when I come live without looking at my calendar. I have to go, okay, what day is today? So happy to be live in multiple.
Thursday all day yesterday, and it was Tuesday.
Did you really? All day yesterday? You thought it was Thursday? Oh my
It was
God.
on and off. Like I have to keep reminding myself, it's not Thursday. It's not Thursday.
It's not Thursday. Okay. Here's the thing. I think this topic, red flag clients, I don't care if you're an interior designer, a coach, a CFO, literally we all have them at times. And something you said to me before we even went live, I think is a really good thing to say right away. Do you remember what it was?
Yes.
Say it.
You had mentioned that we all have red flag clients. I was like, that you're right. You're right. As you get better and better clients, some of your clients automatically are kind of, you get to see their red flags and they're kind of downgraded into, yeah, I see their red flags now. You just get better at getting better clients. And then you can see like, oh, I see the problem there.
Yes. And decide whether you have a service model that you want to work with this person on, or whether you want to run. Because if you are taking on red flag clients, which I think everyone does at some point in their career, because they're looking to fill in the gaps with their income, you have to recognize it, you have to understand it, you have to charge properly for it. And then as you get better, you start to say no to red flag clients and keep space in your life for your ideal client.
And
right?
It's understandable the circumstances that lead to somebody bringing on a red flag client, right? That need sometimes you just need the client and you need the income. But what I'm proposing here is that just like I say, you need to have a job for your money, your cash. It needs a job. Your money is a resource, so is your time, and so is your energy. And these three are linked to each other. Like it might be like, I need the money and I know that this is going to cost me extra energy and it's going to cost me extra time. But if we were to look at those three resources as if they were a gauge on, let's say, a propane tank, propane running out 19 below weather isn't ideal, right?
No propane with 13 below, 19 below?
19 below.
Definitely
19
not
below.
a good idea.
Yeah. This poor plant is paying for it right now. Let's see if he survives. He survived worst, so he'll be fine. So, like, let's look at, you have a money gauge, you have an energy gauge, and you have a time gauge. And something might take just a little bit of money or bring in a lot of money and take just a little bit of time, but the energy just is depleted, just sucks you dry of energy so that you can't do the other things that you want to be doing, even for clients or even for yourself and for your family, and how your business is supposed to be serving you personally, right? So if we were to take into consideration, like, okay, this client is asking for some things that I know how it's going to turn out. Do I have the energy to set the right boundaries? Do I have the extra energy to take on surprising things? There will be surprising things.
Yep, the bandwidth to
the bandwidth, right? The context switching, and even the extra energy after you shut down of oh boy, and you're thinking about it, even when you're having the dinner with your family, even when you're reading your book at the end of the day, whatever it is, what is that going to be doing to your energy, and are you willing to take it on? Not to say that you can't or you shouldn't. There are good lessons to learn from red flag clients, and there's also opportunities in there. But go in with the full scope, not just the one of, but I really need the money right now. Go in with your eyes wide open.
Yes. I think this is so important. The true cost of a red flag client hits you in your sleep, your relationships with your family, with your peace of mind. And like you're saying, are you thinking about it when you're supposed to be relaxing and reading or taking a bath or driving? Red flag clients, if you knew it from the beginning, I'm going to take this on anyway because I need the money. And are you adding those other elements into the equation? Are you prepared for having your life turned upside down sometimes, which is what happens?
Right. So can I ask you, what are some of your red flags?
Bringing a client into my world. What's a red flag client?
Yeah. What are
You
some of the
know,
indicators?
I say I'm really big on imperfect action is still action. Okay, we talked about
Yeah.
this also, right? I left a message for my clientele yesterday. Imperfect action is still action. So if I see someone who is so locked in perfectionism that they can't even sign up for a program because they need more and more and more and more and more and more details, and they're comparing and they're not sure, and that this sometimes is a red flag for me because it's someone who can't get out of their own way. So I have to make sure, as a skilled business and life coach and body language trainer, that I think I can move that needle for the person first.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that person, if that person is too embedded in their perfectionism and they hold it as an honor, a badge of honor, like I'm a perfectionist, nobody else is, like I do everything perfect, that's a red flag for me, because
Yeah.
that means you may not be coachable because you don't
Yeah.
believe anyone else knows anything more than you know.
Yeah, well, that sounds like they are so ingrained in the outcome that they don't care about the lessons. It's the ends justifies the means. Like everything is justifiable as long as I can control this outcome and be guaranteed this specific outcome. I don't
Correct.
care
And
about the
well, I've
value
always
that I
done
get.
it that way. Well, I've always done it
Mhm.
that way. Well, okay, are we willing to try a new way? Because what you've done has not gotten you the life and the business and the profitability that you want. Are we willing to try something new and not just have a conversation, but take action, possibly imperfect
Yeah.
action, to move it along? So that's a red flag for a coach. You want someone who's actually coachable.
Yes. Awesome.
Okay. What are your red flags?
Greed. Greed has really risen to the top in the last 6 months of what I look out for.
Interesting.
It is the common thread through every project that I get to the end of, and I'm like, I never want to talk to these people again because they are so in it for themselves. They ignore the well-being of their clients. They ignore the well-being of their employees. And that one's huge for me. That one is huge. If you are trying to extract as much fiscal value out of your business at the expense and at the exploitation of others, I can't. I just can't anymore. And
Yeah.
that's like it always hit me the wrong way, but I could never quite articulate what it was until a particularly bad experience. And then I was like, oh, ding, ding, ding. And now I see it from a mile away, which I am so grateful for. So grateful for. It was a hard lesson to
Yes.
learn.
Yes.
Learned.
So yeah, so we've all had red flag clients, and
Yeah.
each time you have a red flag client, you may not have identified a red flag, and then when you look back, you're like, "Ooh, add that to my list of possible red flags." Because I will say, not everyone is the same. I mean, there's
Oh,
not
not at
just
all.
one. Like if people come to you as a business owner and they go, I want to make more money, you're not immediately going, that's greed. You're seeing
No.
other characteristics. Like me, if they come to me and say, I want it to be really good before I let it out the door, I don't consider that too perfectionist to go
Yeah.
forward, right? But for interior designers, I feel like the red flags are often a lack of respect for what they do for a living. Like,
Mm.
what do you even do? Well, don't you just go to a store and pick shit out? Like it's so fun to do what you do. Like, they actually don't understand enough about interior design. And again, without shutting them down completely, it could be you need to educate them first before you sign a contract and see if you see a shift in that outlook on interior design. Does that make sense?
Totally
Right.
makes sense.
So
It's
someone
like
could
they
come in
don't.
as arrogant and then turn around and just be educated and be like, oh, I just didn't know that. And now they're a great client.
Yeah. Sometimes like how they articulate what they want is a reflection more of what they've been consuming and not necessarily what's in their heart, right? Like the red flag comes from the heart, really, or the dark places inside that aren't the healthiest, that they are not willing to observe for themselves or change for themselves either. Like People come to me, they want to make more money. Absolutely. What I see on the inside is that almost like they're sacrificing a piece of themselves to make sure that people are taken care of. And now we just need to right the ship that everybody gets taken care of, not just their employees, not just their clients, but they get to take care of themselves as well. The other thing that I see where it is a red flag is where they have been taking a lot of care of themselves and they're actually extracting so much more from the business, and they are demanding that I fix so that they can continue to extract without the stewardship and care that is needed inside of their business.
Right, because you can tell someone how to make more money and how to extract more money out of their business if they're willing to do the things they haven't done yet to get to that point. You can't just look at someone and say, tell me how to make more money and I want it done by next month. It takes a lot of work and introspection and looking at your numbers and understanding you say levers in your business, right?
Yeah.
Are you hiring? Are you not hiring? Are you spending? Are you not spending? Like all different levers in your business that you can trigger at any time. To me, a red flag client, it's one of the reasons why I advise interior designers not to put your prices out there in the public, because there was a time that I advised someone who called me. I was coaching them. They did not want to work with a person who had approached them. That was a sort of a personal friend or a kind of an obligation to work with this person. And I actually understood the obligation. So we doubled her price in an attempt to not get the person not to hire her. And in the end, so she was $150 an hour designer. This was 8 years ago. And she went to $300 an hour.
Good for her.
With my advice, thinking the woman was going to go, that's nuts, I'm not doing it. Instead, the woman's like, yeah, I'm all in. Let's go. And she called me back and I felt bad because I gave her advice on how to get rid of the woman and it didn't work. But months later, she was still coaching with me. And I'm like, I never asked you what happened with that client. And she's like, oh my God, I'm making a ton of money. Every time she changes her mind, she's a pain in the neck. But I am making a ton of money. And I'm like, okay, so sometimes if you're making the right amount, I'm just going to say per hour or for the job, you'll put up with a lot more.
Isn't there power in that though, too? Like it turns from they're calling again. They're calling again to like, they're calling again. This is great.
Well,
like,
you know what? It's a matter
with it.
Well, it's a matter of what does it take for you to feel good about doing your job? Like if I was coming to my computer every day and people are paying me $2 an hour, is that incentive for me to come? Now I have a real pain in the neck client. Maybe the $2 an hour is pleasant when I'm talking to people I like, but then I get the person that I really don't like that much because they're not honoring my talent and what I do for a living, and they're not respecting my profession. Now I'm going to raise the price up really high. And now I don't care if you don't respect me because I'm making money for the job I'm doing for you. I'm still giving you the highest level of service. I'm still attentive to you. It's not like I'm trying to not be what I need to be for you, but you're charging appropriately for the amount of agitation and aggravation you're getting from that client.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Right?
And like that agitation, that aggravation that you speak of, like it's almost like that there's a switch where you can change it to a different type of energy, right? Like, yes, it's still,
Correct.
It's more like a gadfly rather than a rhinoceros barreling at you.
Yeah, because sometimes a designer will take a job because it's a beautiful home and they want it for their portfolio. And I'm like, that's fine. If the client is a red flag client, pain in the neck, you see it coming, make your price high enough that it's worth it for you to take some energy from and time from another part of your life to be able to handle this. Because when you have a red flag client, you may actually not be able to work as many hours because the hours you're working are very stressful. So like you're saying, the true cost of a red flag client is a lot more than they may sue me at the end because they didn't like something. Like the cost is really extensive.
Yes. And it might be even the cost of not being able to take on other clients. It might be the cost of just the time constricting. And so the 3 gauges. What are you giving up?
Money, energy, and time. Mm-hmm. So before you take on a red flag client, make sure you're willing to what?
What are you willing to do? What are your limits? What are your boundaries on that? Like, when do you call it quits? When is it not worth it anymore? When is it like, all right, I learned something and I'm grateful. is there an opportunity to be grateful for the experience that you're having with that client?
Definitely. And I do find that sometimes a designer who's charging, let's say, a flat fee for a design phase, project management is an estimate, and they're charging hourly, and the client goes over the number of hours that they allotted or estimated. Sometimes a designer will be really hesitant to go back for more money, except if it's a red flag client. Suddenly they're like, they owe me more money. I'm doing way over what I should have done. The scope of the project was enough. And they get into this frenzy where, had they not taken the client in the beginning or thought about where is it going to drain me and how do I charge appropriately for a red flag client if I choose to take it on, they would have saved themselves all that angst.
Yeah. And can we talk about like the learning opportunity that you're also buying with red flag clients?
Definitely. I think that's key.
There's a lot of research now about children growing up in environments where they never had to suffer or they never had to
Challenges.
be challenged or figure it out themselves, right?
Yes.
And turning from an energy when you are early in your career of I have to take whatever's coming at me and I have to absorb it and I'm the punching bag, to a point where you have the boundary in that resistance because you know, and it's not taken personally, and you've had
Yes.
that lesson and that challenge to not take it personally and to use it to your advantage and to sharpen your own sword.
Definitely. You're going to learn so much from a red flag client of, in the case of interior designers, what to put in your contract that you may not have put in your contract before, what to put in your welcome packet that you didn't put before, to talk pricing early and often so they understand, so they don't turn into a red flag suddenly because you didn't do your communication properly from the beginning, right? So this is a subject that we could go on and on about, as usual, with anything to do with money management and right. I mean, did we cover all the points on the true cost of a red flag client?
I think we did.
Okay, one more. Your staff, if you have one, when you have a red flag client, it sucks the life out of your staff too.
That's the energy cost that they're burdened, right? Like that's their burden. That's I was thinking about that one in the car this morning. I was taking my husband out for his birthday breakfast. And I was like, oh, culture. Where does culture fit in this? Does that need its own category? It's like, no. That's energy. Culture is energy, right?
Yeah, talk to me though about culture. What do you mean?
So culture, how your employees feel about coming to work, how they interact with each other, how open they are, or how reserved and closed off, because it is a cutthroat culture. Whatever that is, the culture that you want, it takes a lot of time, energy, money, all of your resources in order to build that culture that you really enjoy. Surrounding yourself with the employees you want to be at work because the culture you've built is so great. Like that's an energy. That's a vibe. Your culture is your vibe.
Definitely. Your culture is your vibe. And if you're taking on red flag clients, you're putting a stress on not just yourself, but on your whole business, your whole system, your employees, your whole family. So it's great to learn from red flag clients if you've taken them on. If you're unsure and you've taken them on, then again, these learning experiences are invaluable. But as you start recognizing more and more true red flags, you're able to set boundaries, say no to these clients, to leave yourself open for the clients you actually work really well with. And the more experience you get, the more you can identify it quickly.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
That's the line. We get better as we go along.
Yep.
And you'll still make mistakes once in a while.
Well, you want to learn your lessons as quickly as possible, right?
Yes, it's true. Someone on Instagram saying such a great and important conversation. Definitely learn from taking on red flag clients, currently drafting contracts based on those clients, taking the business to the next level. Exactly. Right. So you learn, you go, okay, my pricing wasn't appropriate for that red flag client. I'm going to choose to take this one on, but I'm going to raise my price. I'm going to add some paragraphs to my contract. And I'm going to be clear from the beginning what I do and what I don't do. And that is where everyone wants to get to, where you are driving your business to serve your life, not your business is ruining your life.
Yeah.
Right? We all know people like that too.
Amen.
All right. Amen. All right, everyone, go have a great Wednesday. Hopefully your plant survives the freezing cold.
He was found in a dumpster, and then the person who found him in a dumpster left him in their bedroom in the dark for months just to kind of like try to kill it off in their spare bedroom. It didn't work. I adopted it from there, and he'll be fine. She'll be fine.
It's so funny. I wish I loved plants as much as you, but I don't. Tell everybody where you're located.
I'm over here at megandahle.com. Come on over and pop a spot on my calendar and we'll have a chat.
Tell them what you help people with.
Oh, all things money, man. Let's talk about your books. Let's talk about what's going on in your business. Let's talk about what the numbers are trying to tell you, what your business is trying to say, but you might not speak the same language, so you can't hear it.
Yes. And Megan is really good at putting complicated accounting terms into 5th and 7th grade language for me and for you. So if you're struggling with understanding how the numbers are working in your business, where you can improve, where you maybe need to cut back, where you need to focus, get on Megan's calendar and she can help you out with that. So
I appreciate that, Nancy. Thank you.
You're amazing. Everyone who works with you is like, oh my God, I want her in my office every day. Like, yeah, me too. So, all right, everyone, we'll see you next time. Thanks, Megan.
All right. Thanks. Take care.
Bye-bye.